Buenas noches. So we're going over imperative, informal, negative commands. So it's imperative, informal, negative. Subject is still going to be tú. It's the only possible subject we can have. You can have the subject vosotros, but it's not going to be used very common. And to make our life a little bit more simple, we're going to not worry about vosotros. All right, so to form the imperative, informal, negative verbs, step number 1 is conjugate for yo. Step number 2, you're going to drop the O. Step number 3, you're going to change the vowels. That means that AR verbs change to E and ER/IR verbs change to A, so you're going opposite vowels. And step number 4, this time you're adding an S. Do these steps look familiar to you? Do they remind you of anything? They should. They are the same steps that you had for imperative formal commands, except for this time, rather than the N, you're adding the S. Okay, so let's look at those. So if we're going to conjugate the verb hablar, we're going to go conjugate for yo, H-A-B-L-O, hablo, drop the O, H-A-B-L, change the vowel, H-A-B-L-E, and then this time we have to add the S. No hables would be your last command. Remember, you have to put that no in front. Otherwise, if you just come up with hables, that's not going to make sense. People are going to think it's a crazy conjugation. Okay, so if we go with tomar, you're going to conjugate for yo, tomo, drop the O, tom, change the vowel, tome, and then we're going to add that final step. Step number 4, add S. You want to do that every single time. No tomes. There's your command. Next one, beber. If you have conjugate for yo, bebo, drop the O, beb, change the vowel, beba, and then you want to add that final S. No bebas leche, bebe agua. Okay, how about tener, conjugate for yo, tengo, tengo, drop the O, ten, change the vowel, T-N-G-A, final step, no tengas. Last one, we're going to do decir, conjugate for yo, digo, drop the O, dig, change the vowel, diga, final command. Oops. No digas mentiras, siempre di la verdad. All right, so let's go over the irregulars. So if we scroll back up here, we look at these 4 steps. Conjugate for yo, drop the O, change the vowel, add your S. Which ones would be your irregulars? It's pretty easy, right? Your irregulars are going to be the ones that do not end in O when you conjugate for yo. So can you think of those? Yeah, exactly right. So you're going to have ser, estar, saber. Let me scroll over here. Ir. And of course we have, let's scroll over a little bit more, dar. Okay, so let's go over what these commands would be in negative. So for ser would be no seas. For estar would be, this is bolded, no estés. And you do want the accent mark over the second E. For saber would be no sepas. Do these look familiar to you? Exactly right. For ir would be no vayas. And for dar would, for dar would be no des. Okay, so do those look familiar to you? Because they should. They're the same ones that were irregular in formal commands. And remember, last time we had the option of adding an N if the subject was ustedes for the affirmative commands and for the negative ones. But this time we're adding an S for tú, so that's a little bit easier. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you several verbs, and then I want you to give me the affirmative and the negative for informal commands, okay? Let's go over some I'm just going to throw some random ones at you. Let's go with tomar. How about trabajar? Let's do ir. Let's do subir. How about venir? And vivir. And one more. Let's do, how about pagar? Well, let's do another one. Jugar. Okay? So let's come up with affirmative in the first column, and then negative in the second column, okay? So let's do the first one for tomar. Affirmative, and these are all, in the first column, I want you to give me the affirmative informal command, and then in the second column, I want you to give me the negative informal command. So let's go through those, okay? So if it's going to be an affirmative informal command, how do you do that? Do you remember? Right. You have two options of forming an affirmative informal command. Option number one is you can either conjugate third person singular, or option number two is you can conjugate for second person singular, which is tú, and then drop the s. Either one which would render or yield the exact same result. So for affirmative would be toma, and negative would be no tomes. Remember, because we're going to conjugate for yo, drop the o, change the vowel, and add s. And then you have to remember to put that no in there. Otherwise, if you just say tomes, no one knows what kind of conjugation that is, and they think you're crazy. Trabajar, third person singular. Trabaja, negative command. Conjugate for yo, drop the o, change the vowel, add s. Trabajes. Good. Okay, for affirmative, ir. Ooh, that's irregular. Ve. Negative, no vayas. Also irregular. For subir, third person, sube. Negative, start with the yo, you drop the o, you change the vowel, add s. Yes. Ha! You like my chant? For venir, also irregular, teeny tiny word. Ven. Negative. Conjugate for yo, you drop the o, you change the vowel and add s. Yes. Right. Affirmative, third person singular or second person. Conjugate for tú, drop the s. Would be vive. Start with the yo, you drop the o, you change the vowel and add s. No vivas. Pagar. Paga. Negative. No pagues. Good. Jugar, third person singular, juega, negative, no juegues. Did you remember your cargars are? Because they're going to change spelling. Cargars are, no juegues. Okay, and then I'm going to give you about 5 more verbs, and then I want you to do those in your spiral, and then you figure out whether what you need to do to them. Okay, well, how about... I'm going to give you saber, dar. How about empezar? How about tener? And one more. I'm going to give you, what's a good verb to give you? Salir. Okay, so I want you to conjugate saber, dar, empezar, tener, and salir in your notes. I want you to give me the affirmative in the first column, like we did here, and then I want you to give me the negative in the second column, and then see how you do. Okay, thanks for watching. Send me messages through My Big Campus if you have questions, and I'll be glad to help you with them. Thanks for watching. Oh, and did you like my Halloween theme? Mwah. Bye.